Diddy Buns, you beat.
All right, so we are live, you guys. Welcome to Black Link Magazine. My name is Marva B. I am the CEO and founder of Black Link Magazine. I'm so excited to have Mr. Wally Green with us. You guys better put on your seatbelt because he has a story to share with us. And we're excited and thankful and honored and humbled to have him here today. And as I was reading his bio and looking through this, this is what really stuck with me. It said it's not just about winning, it's about the power of perseverance, the courage to dream big, and the ability to transform a negative situation into a positive one. And I loved that about Wally. So Wally, welcome to Black Link Magazine. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Go ahead and tell them a little bit more about who you are and what you do, and then we'll just dive into the interview.
No problem, no problem. So my name is Wally Green, from New York City. I'm a pro athlete, entrepreneur, I'm a filmmaker. I do a lot of different things. TEDx speaker, I try to do anything and everything that I can. And I'm all about motivating and inspiring people. That is my passion. And that's what I'm here to do.
That's so exciting because whenever we created the magazine, Black Link Magazine, it was to empower people, empower our culture that, that says that maybe we had a struggle, but here's our successes. It may have been rough getting there, but here's where we are now and keeping our people in the forefront. So thank you so much. Let's just get into this interview. I want to go back all the way to your childhood. And I want to talk about growing up in Brooklyn, right? Brooklyn, New York. I want to talk about growing up and how that was for you, if you don't mind sharing.
Yeah, growing up as a child was really difficult. My mom and my dad divorced. Actually, I don't know when, because I don't have a memory of my mom and dad together. So it's probably maybe when I was one, I don't know. My mom remarried, and I always use the word extreme because it was extreme, an extreme narcissistic abuser who used to beat up my mom constantly and me as well. And I grew up hearing these kind of words, you will be dead or in jail. You will never amount to anything. You're useless. Why are you even in my house? And anything that someone can say to tear someone apart, put them down, and not only put them down, keep them there, was said to me as a kid. And that was my life as a kid.
Wow. And it's crazy because we may not believe it, but it's so true that when you're told something over and over and over, you start to believing what they're saying. I'm not going to amount to anything. I may be dead or in jail. Tell me what your feelings were. And then, what were your thoughts? Did you start believing those things? And how did you react to that?
So because of that was that was the main reason why I started the whole gang life thing, right? Being in the gang, yeah, in a way, gangs are bad, but in a way, that's actually what saves you in a strange kind of way. Because I was being told this and being put down, I didn't have an outlet, right? So I met, I got that outlet with my gang, because those are the people that would say, nah, man, come on, you got this. Those were the people that, although we were doing terrible things, they were the people that made me feel like all the stuff that was being said to me wasn't even real, right? So that's kind of how I never, as a kid, for some reason, entertained, meaning like I never thought that, oh yeah, I'm gonna be dead or in jail, or oh man, yeah, I'm stupid. Like I never thought that way because I had my gang, and my gang never let me think that way. So that was the reason why it didn't affect me mentally that way, was because of my gang. So those were the people that, lifted me up. Those were the people that, made me feel like I was a part of something.
Right. Right. So, and that was like your support system. Had they not been there for you, that probably would have turned out differently. The thoughts, the what you were thinking.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
At what point in your life did you get out of the house, or what happened that you separated from your mother, your father, the situation?
Yeah. So this went on for years. Like this was nonstop. And then, my mom had another child, which is my stepbrother. And it got worse when my stepbrother came along, because then he was always like, this is my child, you're not my child. And it, it got even worse, to the point where I started to like sort of abuse my stepbrother,
Oh gosh.
right? Because every time he did something, it was fine. If I did something, I was in trouble. So I became a bully to my stepbrother, like
Mhm.
a real bully, like to the point where I was like, if I did something, I would tell him, if you don't say you did it, then I'm gonna beat you up. Because I knew if he said he did it, he wouldn't get in trouble.
Right.
But if I did it, I would get in trouble. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I became a bully, like to my stepbrother.
Yeah. And that's a part of being a product of your environment, right? So you were being abused, and all you knew to do is, since if he's not going to get in trouble, I'm going to make him
Yeah, that's what
do
it was
what he's
about.
supposed to do. Like, they beat on me, so I think that's what I'm supposed to do to him, right?
Exa-
Unconsciously thinking that, right? And so that
Exactly.
happened. And then, so before we move forward, are you and your brother okay today?
So
I don't want to
my
skip too much of the story. I want to get it all.
no,
So,
no, my brother passed away recently, very recently. And it was, we didn't talk much throughout the years, but I never hated my brother. That's one thing. We fought. I threw him off the bunk beds one time. Even when we were older, we fought, but we also did a lot of crazy stuff together, like guns and stuff. Like we did a lot of stuff. So I always liked my brother. I just never kept in contact with him that much. But
yeah,
then we talked once in a while. He was in
okay.
Ohio, and we talked. Like if he called me, it wasn't like a family member that would call, I wouldn't answer. I would always answer. We talk a little bit, and but I didn't know his family, right? He doesn't know my family, so
Yeah.
that's kind of separate. So when he passed, like just like a few months, like maybe 6 months ago, and it was really awkward because I don't know his family, like I don't know his wife. And I don't talk to my mom, who actually was living with him.
Oh,
So it was a weird thing, because I had to, like, send my condolences to his wife, who I don't know. Like I didn't know what to say. It was just really an awkward situation. But yeah, he's passed.
I'm sorry
Uh,
to hear that.
yeah,
So let's go back. So we talked about you so you kind of started abusing your brother, because basically you wasn't trying to get in trouble, so
yeah,
he had to be the one to get to say it, because he wouldn't get in trouble. Years pass, you
yeah,
continue to go through this life, you continue to go through the abuse, you continue this with your mother and your father.
yeah.
What happens next? What's your next move when you get
So
to a point where you can make your decisions?
so what happened is when I was 14, I got arrested in school for a loaded weapon. And they wanted to give me a lot of time in jail for it, but I always had good grades. This is always crazy. I had good grades because even as a kid, I had an entrepreneur mind. So I had kids doing the work for me. I always had my work done. Like my work was always done. I was able somehow to pass exams by either cheating or actually knowing the work. But I always had a system where someone was helping me. So I was able to pass. And the reason I was able to pass is because my other half was sports. So if you fail, you can't play sports. And I needed that second, the less violent side was the sports. And so my mom somehow, with a good lawyer, used that in court. And somehow it worked. I don't know how. And instead of doing time, I got sent away to Africa for 2 years.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
so I went to a boarding school for 2 years. I stayed at a school, which was really harsh. Yeah, it was really rough because it's a different, it's a different culture. capital punishment is a real thing there. So to the point where if a teacher asks, so here in America, we have the option to learn. Like if we want to learn, we can learn. If we don't, we don't. In Africa, you don't have an option to learn. You will learn. And if you don't learn, you will learn by force. So, you know, for example, if you go put a math problem on the board and it's wrong, you will get hit. So it's very serious. So I went there for 2 years, had a really rough time there because I started to experience, you know, a little racism there as well, in a place where you never think would
I was
be.
gonna say in Africa.
Yeah, right. So apparently I wasn't the real black, right? They used to call me in their language the kid who eats butter. Yeah, they every day that's they call me the kid who eats butter. Which what they're trying to say I was soft because
Right.
I wasn't the real black. So I spent a lot of time fighting because that was not even what was going to go down. So I spent a lot of time fighting, a lot of time getting beat up, a lot of time fighting more. And so, you know, I became much stronger. You know, I was much stronger. I joined something called Man of War, which was the closest thing to being in the most craziest kind of army that you could be in for a kid. Yes, I joined this thing. And I used to wear this beret and these boots and this army fatigue, and they would make you like stand up and just fall straight down. Right? They just fall. You stand up, you fall straight down. There was all these kind of exercises. So, you know, I became much stronger, and I started to get respect. Like once I joined Man of War, everybody respect. When they see that uniform, they're like, oh yeah, this guy, don't mess with him. Yeah. So joining that, I think that's why I joined it too, to get respect.
Did you have I mean, so was it your choice to join?
Yeah.
So you didn't have to do it.
No. I
Okay.
saw someone wearing that, and I was like, "What's that?" And they told me, and I was like, "Oh, I want to join that," because I saw the way people looked at him, like
Right.
when he walked, you know, and I became a friend with this person, and you know, when he would go out to eat, they would give him free food, like they treated him like, and I'm like, it's not even the real army, bro.
Right.
So I joined immediately, and it was really hard. But I was stronger. You know, I came back. I came back to New York, and I was a different person. I was not the same. I was not the same kid that, you know, was getting beat up and that was watching his mom get beat up. And you know, as a kid growing up, you always want to protect your mom, right? You know,
Yeah.
every kid in the world, there's no kid that says, I'm not going to protect my mom. No,
Yeah.
you want to do it, but you can't. And if you grow up with this all your life, it's always in you and it makes you more angry. You know, I remember at like 6 or 7 years old, I was thinking of ways that I could kill my stepfather. Why should a 6-year-old kid be
Right.
thinking or even have the knowledge of trying to kill someone? It's crazy. And I remember, I still remember this, going to the he had like a medicine cabinet, and my stepfather used to take pills. I don't remember what for, but I was smart enough at 6 that you know boric acid.
Yes.
So in the projects, you use that to kill the
Yeah.
roaches. Just put the powder. So I was thinking of how I could take boric acid, put the powder of the capsules, and put the boric acid into the capsules.
Ooh.
And this is what I was thinking about as like a little kid,
Oh
right?
wow.
But you know, as a little kid, you really can't do it. You can think all you want, but you don't
Yeah.
really do the action. But when I came back, now I was much stronger and I was ready to protect my mom. Like there was no way, there was no way that my mom was going to get hit again. No way. I thought about this on the trip going. I thought about it while I was there. There was no way that my mom was ever going to be beaten by this guy again. Never. And there was a day where I was in the house and my stepfather, my mom was arguing about something, and my stepfather went to grab my mom by the throat. And I just turned around and I looked. I didn't say that, I just turned around and I looked. And then as soon as my stepfather saw me look, he says, "Oh, if you don't turn around, you're gonna get the same exact thing." And I was like, and I exploded. And I don't even remember like leaving the house. That part I don't remember of how I left the house. But apparently I did leave the house because I came back with a gun. So we used to keep our guns at a friend's house, and which was like a couple of doors away. And I went and got it. I came back, and I put the gun to his head, and I was going to kill my stepfather that day. I was shaking. I was tears in my eyes, but I was more angry. Like when I used to get angry, I used to cry. And I was very angry, and I was like, I'm going to end you today. They're never going to hit my mom again. And then my mom called the police, right? And my mom says to the police, and you know what? And it's not the fact that she called the police that I can understand, but it's the words that came out of her mouth that she said to the police. And she called the police and said, you guys have to hurry. My son is trying to kill my husband. Not that my husband's beating the mess out of me and my son is trying to protect me. And okay, maybe, yeah, he has a gun. Okay, that's understandable. But it was none of that. It was, my son is trying to kill my husband. And I just lost it. Like, I just, like, you know, when they say you see black, I just lost it. And I pointed the gun to her, and I was going to kill my mom and my stepfather that day. It was really so close. But then you have to remember, time is going. It's quick. Like, this stuff is happening so, like, when we talk about it, it seems like a long time. But this is so fast. Like, things are happening. Your brain is turning. Your emotions are going. And you know, I put the gun to my mom's face, and I was like, you know, the two of you deserve to not be here. Like, you know, it was a really crazy time, and I was shaking, and now I was really shaking because, you know, the person that I wanted to protect my whole life had betrayed me, right? I mean, I've been betrayed on many occasions, but not in this way. I've been betrayed in ways where they would fight, and then, you know, I would console my mom. She would go up to the room with him, and they do whatever they do, and all of a sudden I'm punished. And that was a way to let me know that he's the boss of this house, right? So I would get punished for consoling my mom, and this happened a lot, right? So I think the time bomb, that was part of the time bomb too, right? It wasn't only the time bomb of him, it was a time bomb of this constantly happening as a kid. And then finally, like, I lost it, and I was going to shoot both of them. I was really ready to take both their lives that day. And I was shaking and crying, and something came to me. You know, I always say maybe divine intervention or angel or whatever you want to call it, came to me and said, hey, if you do this right now, every single thing your stepfather said about you is going to happen today. Every single thing. Right? And as I mentioned before, there's no individual in the world that I hated more than my stepfather. So the fact that anything that he would say could ever be right was even worse to me, was much worse to me than me actually killing the both of them. So that was worse. And so I just came to my senses, and I said, you know what? You two deserve each other. And I left before the police could get there. I left, and I never went back there again.
So the police didn't get you. You left, and
they got me later.
Oh, they found you?
But
because of this?
They because, you know, I was, when that happened, I was pretty much homeless. I didn't have a place to live, so I was in the streets a lot. And they did get me later, but they had no case. Because they had no weapon, they had no proof. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. I said it was a water gun. I said it was a water gun. And you know, they could, and of course they try to pressure you to say stuff, but you know, it's a water gun. If you have the gun, then talk to me. So they had to let me go. They had no case. And so nothing ever happened with that. But I stayed in the street for a year, you know, living with, not living, like sleeping at friends' house sometimes, or sometimes not sleeping at all. You know, when you're a young man, you can stay out all night for days.
Wow.
Days. So I would stay out, you know. So it was
so
great.